Tristan Tate saga that you were diving into without any distractions of needing to move the convo forward too quickly?
I've been speaking to him for 3 years. We've been speaking for 3 years, and he was always very nice, very respectful. We had very long conversations, back and forth, like friends. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to Romania. He offered to pay for everything. I refused because I was like, you know what, I want to feel safe, want to pay for my own hotel. I do not know this guy. Just that was the reason. So he hit me up there every day, like, you know what, when I'm going to see you, I want to have 8 sex with you. And I'm like, bro. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. First of all, never done that. I said, take a bitch to dinner first. I have all the screenshots for this either way. So, and then he was, yeah, we'll take you out to dinner. And I was like, yeah, that's better, that's nice. And then a few days later, he was like, come over to my house, I will call you an Uber. And I was like, bro, when is the Uber arriving? Because I was in this hotel. He said 30 minutes. I was like laying in bed, it was evening. I was like, fuck, I have 30 minutes to get ready. So I did. I ran downstairs, got into the Uber. I sent the location to my friends, obviously. But it was not at all what I was expecting. I was expecting this gentleman in a suit like he always is. He was like in a sweatpants, hair is messy, everything was total messy. He looked like a total uncared for person. But I walked in and the first thing he greeted me, and then he turned around to all his cars. He was like, this is the world famous Lana, but you already know that, right? And then he showed all his cars. I was like, I'm not interested in this. I didn't look you up. He said, why not? He got angry. So I was like, because I'm here for you. Then we went to this office you always see in his podcasts and everything. But it was so confusing to me because it was like this big door with locks and everything, big chairs. If you sit on those chairs, you cannot see that somebody is sitting. You have to remember that for later on. So we sat down and he just started talking about how much money you're going to give his assistant for all her work because he's in Dubai right now and everything. And I was like, all right, where's this conversation going? Because I'm not interested in all the money and everything. I'm just like, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. And then he was like, do you want something to drink? I said, yeah, that would be nice. And he called his assistant. So I was like, why do you not get it yourself? He said, why shouldn't I? I said, because this is arrogant. Then he got frustrated a little bit more. And he just kept on talking about his money and everything. So I called him a little bit out. I said, you walk funny. You have a limp when you walk. You talk stupid. Are we going to have a normal conversation or not? And then he was like, sure, a little bit. And there was a light bulb at this room. It was a different color. All the lights were white and that color was brown. Because I was so bored with his conversation about money. I was like, hey, that light bulb is stupid. He's got off the chair, he ran down the room. He was like, oh, I'm going to fix it. Like, so insecure, not what I expected at all. I've been speaking to him for 3 years. Then he sat down. And then out of nowhere, he was like, Andrew is awake, panicking. And I was like, yeah, so what's the deal? Then the door knocked, he said, we have to go, Andrew is awake. Then he said, and Andrew just walked in with his laptop, sat down next to me, and he looked like, huh, hi. Didn't expect me at all, gave me a hand, very friendly, I have to give them that. And then Tristan was like, we have to go. He was so scared because Andrew was like, we have to work, get her out. Very scared. So I was like, hey, is Andrew running this whole show? And he was like, yeah. But now you have to go. So we went outside, and he said, thank you for your time. Can you please answer all your messages? Because I'm a slow texter. And then I was in the Uber the way out, and then he keeps on texting me, and I was like, you know what, it's not going to work. It's not the vibe, and he agreed. And then he started to be a little bit ugly at WhatsApp, and I said, you need to calm down. You look like a fish. And yeah, that was the little story of me and Tristan Tate. I did text him after that. And he tried to be ugly a little bit. And then my friends texted him, like, shut up, because we will put you in the truck. And then he got a little bit scared. Then he told me, like, your friends are scary. And the next day, my friends told him that, like, calm down, because we will put you in the trunk. And the next day, he was in the trunk of the police wagon because they got arrested again. So that's funny. So, yeah, they were very respectful, but it was so weird. He is so scared of his brother a little bit. I will look it up. I think it's April, May, June, the time. So I have to look it on my Instagram. You can see the picture.
Wait, you said the day after he got arrested again?
No, like last week he got arrested. My friends texted him again, last week, like, be nicer because we will put you in the trunk. And the next day he was in the trunk of the police car. That was funny. So he was very nice, respectful. His brother came in and he got so scared. For some reason, we have to get out. And he's awake. And I was like, does your brother run the whole show? And he's like, yeah. Now you have to get out. So he was very sweet, very respectful, but I'm just wondering if he's not more the social media figure I think his brother, Andrew, is the total brains. He walked in, he had that very manly era, very sexy manly. You felt it right away, and Tristan was just there like that puppet just sitting. I don't know, I think Andrew is the real brain, for sure. I don't know, I was so confused myself because we were speaking for 3 years, and I asked him, why do you speak for me for 3 years? It's not like a hookup thing and everything.
How often would you guys speak on the phone?
Also, yeah. And then
How often would you guys text each other?
Almost weekly for 3 years. And he was like, time I was more on the phone because now I cannot do that anymore because the police is searching my phone and stuff like that. I'm like, sure. For the people who not believe me, I've ever received, so.
I believe her. I think that's the most believable story I've ever heard on here, actually.
But again, it's not like he was disrespectful. We just got, when Andrew came, he was like, whoa, we need to, and that was so surprising. And he looked like shit when I arrived. And I don't know.
So the story is you met up with him and you were slightly underwhelmed, and that's the extent.
No, I was just not expecting this kind of persona, like a little scared persona or something. It was so weird, just talking about money, how much money you're going to give his assistant, his cars, very arrogant, like, this is famous Lana, you already knew that, right? And I was like, no, I do not watch your shit.
But I mean, don't you go in kind of expecting that they're going to talk about money and...
No,
I mean, that's
because
kind of their
3 years
whole
is a long time,
business.
right? I told him that too, except on WhatsApp. I told him, like, you know what, 3 years is a long time. Obviously, you want to show your house a little bit. That's a normal thing, like, welcome to my
Yeah.
house. I understand that, that's fine.
Sure.
But when you sit down, you're going to bash about the money you're giving your assistant. I do not know your assistant. I do not know what the police thinks is going on. Why do you want to
Yeah.
talk that to me? And I was
Okay.
like, can we not have a normal drink? Ask me what my favorite color is or something. Be nice.
So I have a question. Did he tell you he wanted to do you before or after you got to Romania?
Before. No, lie. When I arrived.
Okay.
Wait, Nicolette, can you scoot your mic that way a little bit?
When I arrived.
That way, yeah.
And let's be honest, that man is sexy as fuck. You cannot deny it.
Who,
He's,
Tristan?
yeah, he's tall. He looks like shit when he arrived, but he's not ugly. I will never say that. He's tall. He has his biceps bigger than my fucking head. He's tall. He's muscular, for sure. But I just didn't expect such a
Well, you
shy
gotta make
type.
up your mind, right? He's a scared, timid coward one second.
I would never
and
go
looks
to
like
him
a
again.
Fish, and then in the next second, he's a buff stud Chad. Like, which is it here?
Of course, he has muscles. You cannot deny it. It has nothing to do with his personality. If somebody has muscle, it's muscle.
Well, what did you expect the personification of a man who's under massive investigation and is meeting up with somebody he's been talking to for 3 years, who's a friend of his? Of course, he's probably going to be nervous and probably have all sorts of things which are going on, right?
I did, and I had that in mind. But I think when you sit down in a normal conversation in a locked-up room, no mobile phones off, everything, it would be nice to have a normal conversation. You do not really know me, right? So why would it make sense to tell me how much money you give
That's really
everybody?
weird, though, right? That's self-contradictory. So what do you mean he doesn't really? You've been talking for 3 years, I thought. He doesn't really know you.
No, not in that way. If you never meet with
Well, what
somebody...
way? What
Yeah,
way?
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I
I
will-
feel
I
like if I've been
understand.
talking with
No,
somebody
no.
for 3 years, that I would get to know them pretty well, right?
Yeah, it's not like a very deep conversation we had. Obviously, every week something like, hey, what you doing? La, la, and he went to this and that. It's just like friendly conversation like you are saying. But I was not
Well,
expecting...
wait, I thought that you were talking to him on the phone.
Also, yeah, just about his way, his life and everything, but not seriously, not about his money. Why would he do that? That's private, right?
Yeah,
So
no.
I
but
didn't
before
expect
you,
that.
Before you kind of pivot to the next thing, let's see if we can get this figured out. When you say I was talking to this guy weekly, does that mean you were like, oh, hey, what's up, Tristan? How are you? And he went, good. How are you? And you said, good. And like that was the extent of most of your conversation. Is that what you
No.
mean? Or did you
Also,
have
like,
in-depth
where he
conversations
was
about things?
going, what he was doing with the girls, stuff like that. Just like, I do not know if I can say everything here, but it's like more than just, hey, how are you? And then finish conversation. We did not have sexual conversations at all, but more about life, like when he was younger, puberty, everything, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like a normal human being. So that's why I was expecting just like what you were saying, like a little bit more friends vibe. And then I arrived, he only talked about money and his cars. And I was like, confusing.
But I don't know why that's confusing, right? So he's showing you his life, right?
Yeah, but if you never talk to somebody about your finances, why would you, when you meet somebody in person for the first time, sit down with this person and be like, I'm going to tell you how much I pay my assistant when I see her again. Like, that's, bro.
Why would that? I don't understand why that's problematic. That's to him talking
I didn't
about
say
his
it was
work.
problematic. I just personally found it a little weird.
Hang on, isn't that first date territory to talk about work?
You
Talk
can
about
tell
what
me
you
what
do.
kind of work you do, but I'm not interested in you throwing money around, no.
Yeah, but he didn't. I didn't actually hear any part in the story where he threw money around.
Money around, like what he's giving all the people. That's
Yeah, he's
throwing
talking
money
about
around.
his job and his work, right?
But it was
I'm
not
always-
talking about. It was not talking about his money. It was like she's in Dubai, hiding for the government. I'm going to pay her this amount, and just like, why do you want to tell me all this? I just was not there for that. I just wanted to be friends, like we were on WhatsApp, like normal, nice, good vibes.
Well, what was the nature of
So
your
the guy,
conversation?
so this guy who is, I would say, unfairly often targeted because of his brother.
I agree.
Right, has a friend who he's been talking to for 3 years who finally comes into town. He gets a chance to meet her. He's talking to her, and he has somebody he feels like he can confide in. So he starts confiding in you, and you're punishing him for that.
I do not say it's confiding into. Let's be honest. A man like that, he told me that that's 500 women over a week or something. So it's not that I'm a very good friend. I will never see me as a very good friend. I never would tell me that or something. Think if you're friends.
So did you just fly out there for a booty call?
No.
Well, then what the hell were you out there for?
Meeting him, but not
Well, I
for a
thought-
booty
I
call.
thought-
If I
wait,
was there for a
you're
booty
not
call, I would
friends.
say,
You're-
yeah,
you're
let's.
not friends, right? You don't consider him to be a friend. He doesn't think he considers you to be a close friend. He talked about sex the second you touched down. Like, what the hell were you out there for? Be honest.
Meeting
What were you
him
out
as
there for?
in a person. I wanted to see the person behind all the social media. And I told him that if I was there for a booty call, I would say yes. Please me. No, I did not.
What? Yeah. So then your intention? Did he pay to fly you out?
No, I paid for everything
No.
myself. No,
Well, I mean, that was a good decision. If he knew that you were going to like take it on a road show and slander him,
And I told him
everywhere,
that I
just
wanna
for
meet
meeting
you
up with, just for meeting up
for
with you
you.
one time.
no, I just told him that I want to meet you for like your character behind everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Because on WhatsApp we spoke very respectfully, and that's why I ignored him. And he said, hey,
Let's say that all of this, that I'm just going to take you at face value, and all of this did happen, right? What is the
happened?
actual point, since the guy didn't actually do anything bad to you, of taking this story on the road and slandering his name? What is the point of
Is
that?
it really slandering? It's just talking about a date. It's not very bad.
Well, I think the point is it's
you're
very
essentially-
entertaining.
you're
It's
essentially
an
calling him
entertaining
timid.
story, and it's her story, and she
Yeah,
can
and I'm
share it if
asking
she
her about
wants
her
You
to.
asked
story.
about
When
an
we're all
entertaining
done, then
story.
you can chime in. So let us finish our conversation here. So how is it?
Did you call
how
him
is it
gross?
not? How is it not slander? How is it not slander to run around and basically say, okay, this is all a persona, it's all a social media persona. He's basically a coward in reality. He's very timid. He's kind of has to be in obedience to his brother. It sounds like total slander. Like,
No, I didn't
in fact,
say that.
In the entirety of the story,
giant one.
you really never said a nice thing about the guy. Not a single nice thing.
I didn't say and slandered him. I said I felt like he was scared. I didn't say he is scared. I didn't say he was a coward. I said I feel.
It just seems
he
like a
was.
non-story. Like nothing happened. You know?
I was entertained, and she did say something nice. She said he was hot and had big muscles.
No, I'm just saying like
After the story was
You
done.
asked about
but
an
in the
entertaining
context of what's
story. I'm
going on
giving
in
you a
the
little bit
story, no.
entertaining.
I
That's
like
all I'm
that.
doing.
I like
I just tell you that I met him. That's all.
Well, the guy, this guy is a really high-profile guy. He's looked at by tens of thousands of people. You know he's looked at, and he's under scrutiny from tens of thousands of people. What would actually be the point of even regurgitating such a story?
Why not?
Except
Because
to
he's
slander and hurt
famous.
this guy's image. Like,
Why?
what would even be the point except to slander and hurt his image?
Why? But why do you tell this? Because you only say because he's famous and he's. If he was not famous, like a nobody, you will all be f***ing entertained right now.
Yeah, so what? What does that have to do with my line of inquiry?
No,
What
but
would
why are
actually
you
be the
so much on?
point?
He's so famous. He's so this. Why does that even matter? Because if anybody here tells
Because
a
you
dating
weren't out there to
story-
meet him because of any other
So
reason.
I can
than he
meet
was
every
famous.
other man that I want and fly out. It will be the same story.
I
but
thought
just
you
you're
weren't flying
making a
out there
point.
because you wanted him. Now the story changes?
No, you're just making a point. Like he's famous, you cannot do this. But if he was not famous, you will be like a fake man.
Okay, yeah, you wouldn't be out there to meet him if he wasn't famous, right? You
I
wouldn't have
probably
gone out there?
would because he is not ugly. It's the same thing. You're just making a point because he is famous. That's your point. If he was
Well,
not
no, that
famous, if I just would
that's
tell
your
you a
point.
dating story not him, this same story, but a different man that's not famous. Are you okay? That's not famous.
Well, it didn't, but your dating story
That you
wasn't
would-
about
you
a
will
different
not
man
react
who
this
was
way
not
if he was not famous.
By the way, that dating story would actually, without the context of it being Tristan, be totally uninteresting, and nobody would give a shit about it. The only reason that it's even interesting is because you included
And that's
Tristan's
why you asked
name.
an interesting date story. So that's the only thing I have. So I gave you a little bit of
well, so I
entertainment.
mean, it doesn't sound.
Just
it sounded
pop that
like
bottle.
specifically, it sounds like you're just going on like a slander roach. Have you told this story multiple times before
No, this
this?
is the first.
But it's the really.
Yes,
The
it
first
is.
time?
Yes, you
Okay.
cannot find it anywhere. No, it's the first time.
I think he's jealous because he wants to do it with Tristan.
Damn it, Madison.